to my first crafting YouTube podcast. You may know me as Hitchedtothestitch on Instagram, but I wanted to start doing a video podcast, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One, I've sort of started really getting into knitting again last year, and started watching a lot of people's knitting podcasts and videos, and so I was a bit of a silent watcher for a while and decided to give it a shot myself. The second reason is I don't really have anyone in my life that I want to that I can talk to as much about this type of crafting stuff, sewing, knitting, other types of crafts sometimes, a bit of ceramics, maybe sometimes some painting. So I wanted to sort of craft a little space on the internet to talk about those things a little bit more as well. And the third reason is I really do love my Instagram account and making fun videos or taking fun pictures of the things that I make and sharing those, because I really love to see other people's, because it really inspires me. So I want to put out as much as I can as well of my stuff. So what I'm wearing today is actually one of the first things that I ever made with the sewing machine, which is just sitting behind me. And yeah, so a lot of this at the moment is I'm a bit more into my knitting era. So a lot of it will be a bit more knitting, but occasionally there'll be some sewing, crafting content as well. So I want to get into, first I'll start with my finished objects, kind of the classic knitting podcast style finished objects, then my WIPS, work in progresses, and last of all, finish off with any acquisitions that I might have. This year I'm really trying to shop my stash essentially and work with the things that I already have, because I've got a lot of fabric and a lot of yarn that I need to get through. So I'll be primarily starting with that, but sometimes inspiration may take it on a little form of its own. So we'll see how we go with that. I've got a lot of things on the needles at the moment. I'm not going to go into my sewing things that I've cut out, but I've got a lot of things on the needles at the moment. So I've got one finished object to talk about, and I think 8 or so projects that I'm working on currently that I'm trying to finish off. So my first finished object is a dress that I just finished making. It is the Adrift Shift by Gracie Steele on Instagram, and she does amazing patterns. I think this is the 3rd pattern that I've made of hers, and it's just, her patterns are always really beautiful and very workable into different things. So it's quite a short dress. I'll share a photo up here somewhere. And yeah, it's such a good process. She's really good at writing out the patterns, and I wanted to give this a really clean look. So there's actually no stitches visible from the outside. So on the neckline, if you can see there, I've done 3 different types of stitches. So I've understitched at the top, so you can see, I don't know if you can see that a little bit there. And then on the sides, I actually had a bit of this spare ribbon, so I just binded all the, I have a lining for this as well because it was quite see-through. So I hand stitched the ribbon to close it all off there nicely. And on the bottom, I also hand stitched by whip stitching all along there. So that was a nice summer dress to make for the moment, and I've got a really tiny head, so I actually didn't need to do the open closure at the back in the end. It is supposed to have a button or a ribbon or something like that, but yes, my tiny head somehow fits through that. So yes, that's my finished object, and I'll move on to my WIPS. What I've been working on a lot recently is the Clover Tee by, I'll just check my notes, by Lene Holm Samso. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this is the progress so far. I really like it, but it is taking a really, really long time. I've never made a fingering weight like summer knit before, so this is going to be a little t-shirt, and it is really, it's coming out really nicely. The yarn that I'm using, I bought a long time ago, and it is an acrylic polyester with a lot of drape. And so in one of these balls, 200 grams, there is 800 meters. So I bought this long before I knew a lot about yarns. I've started to learn a lot recently through watching all those podcasts. But I have an extra 5 balls on top of these 2 that I think will finish off the project easily. Yes, I have a lot of yarn now and I'm not exactly sure how to use it. I'm thinking I've got a friend that's having a baby, so I might make a little set of shorts or something as well with this yarn and just use like 4 strands together to get it a little bit bigger, because yes, this is taking me a really long time. I did start it 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I've been working on it a lot and it's still only here. So I've changed my gauge was a little bit off, so it was a little bit bigger than the gauge requested by the pattern. So I sized down and started making the extra small, and I'll usually make a small. I can't remember my gauge at the moment, but then when I was actually making it, my rows were quite short and it did fit quite tight. So I then sort of sized up 2 sizes and I made, I think, the increases for the large. So we'll see how it turns out. That's my first WIP at the moment. I've also been making a few socks, and those are, I got this yarn. I recently went to Europe and found some yarn in in Germany. And I've been making the laid edges socks. So this is the first one, it is finished, and the second one, it's very close to being finished as well. I've just got the toe to finish off this one. It's a really pretty pattern, and I really like this heel construction, just the classic slip heel construction, and the yarn is really, really beautiful. The yarns that I've got for this, the first one is alpaca, so this blue color here on the toe, that is I think it's 75% alpaca and 25% polyamide, and the wool, the main color there is 75% wool and 25% polyamide. There's 150 grams the yarn ball from that, so I've got plenty left. I could probably almost make another pair of socks with what I have left, which I might be doing, but for the moment that's not on the agenda. And I'm also making a second pair of socks with that alpaca yarn, so I'll share that now. That's my next work in progress. So this is the one that I've got on my needles at the moment, the alpaca yarn. The pattern is Emma by Yuka, and it's really, really beautiful. You can see this nice cable stitch on the front, and then on the back I think it's just a 1x1 ribbing. It's really beautiful, and the yarn's really nice as well. However, it is a little bit big at the moment, and I'm a bit worried about it turning out far too big, even with that ribbing up the back. So I'm considering taking it back to here and restarting this fit and just sizing down 1 size. I think I'm making the second size, so I can make the first size on this one to fix up those issues. Maybe my gauge is a little bit off, but yeah, so this is going to be really beautiful. I'm very excited to get that. But it's going to be a while. I'm not going to rush this one. It'll just be in the background for public transport. I can work on this easily. And yes, yeah. If you notice that I'm looking here a little bit, it's the camera's distracting me. I'm not used to filming myself, so I'm trying to look into the actual camera lens. But if I'm looking to the side, it's just to see the project that I'm holding up. My next work in progress is the Estuary Wrap by Pearl Soho. It's this really beautiful cable pattern. I hope you can see that there with the black yarn coming out a little bit. And I'm using Knit Picks Aloft lace weight black yarn, and also from, I don't know how to say the seller, but it's Buana Hig. I'll link them below. It's mink cashmere, also in black, and I'm holding those two together. The reason why I wanted to make this one particularly was I went out one night, and I had a really nice top that I didn't want to, it didn't go with what I was wearing, didn't match any jacket that I had, but I was expecting to be sitting inside, ended up sitting outside, and it was really cold. So I want to make a really long, hopefully it's going to block out quite a bit wider than this as well, and I'm going to make it as long a scarf as I possibly can, so it's a nice wrap, an alternative to a jacket. So that was the idea behind this one. I'm really liking the process so far. It's quite easy to keep track of. You can see I've got a lot of stitch markers for, I think it's every, maybe I can't give all, oh yeah, no, it's a free pattern. So I think it's every, how many stitches? I think there's 8 of the cable, and then there's 2 purl stitches to break up each of the pattern segments. So it's been a really good process so far. It does take a while. It's very, 2 lace weight, 1 lace weight yarn and 1 lighter than light fingering yarn. So it is taking a while, but that's all right. I'm going to finish it up for winter. I've got a couple months ahead of me to do that. So I'll just be working on this one in the background as a long-term project. Now I'll go into some of my older WIPs that I've had on, in progress for some of these well over a year, 2 years even, that I haven't touched for a really long time. So one of them is a pair of, it was inspired, I'll put the photo up here. It's inspired by a jumpsuit, a crochet square jumpsuit, and I've finished up the pants almost. I think what I haven't done yet is how to actually connect them at the crotch area. I have no idea how to do that, but I'll just look it up somehow. And the waist is really wide, so I'm going to put in a waistband and then put in a thick elastic. But I really like them. They're very heavy. It's made with this yarn. It is 70% viscose from bamboo and 30% cotton by Modavira. It's bamboo cotton yarn. So I've got the white, which is, I'll put the color numbers in the description box, but it's, yeah, white, pink, green, and this sort of browny gray color. It's really pretty. I've got many more squares. Actually, I was going to make the top to make the jumpsuit, but I've decided now I don't think it's going to be as wearable. I think it'll be more wearable if I've got pants separate, top separate, and either I can wear it together then, or I can just wear them separately. The top I just want to have like kind of a t-shirt style, so I'm making these up to put them into a loose flowy t-shirt. And for the pants I'm going to also add in a lining so that, they're more wearable and I don't have to worry about what I'm wearing under them. I'll just put in maybe a lining up to this 3rd square of just some white cotton or something, for some modesty. So that's been on, this is all crochet, so I've been crocheting that for a really long time and just didn't touch it. I don't think I've touched it for 2 years, so I'd like to get that finished. So I'm trying to clear off all of my old work in progresses. Another one of those is this shell bag. So this is the bag. It's a Nautilus shell, and I'm up to here at the moment, bringing it up a bit bigger on this side. So I'm quite close to being done. I don't remember what pattern I was using. I'm sure it's somewhere, but I could probably figure it out as well. I'm just using some raffia yarn, and the idea with this one is, at the moment, if I put anything in there, I think it'll be pretty floppy. So I'd like to add in also like a leather, I've got some leather I can cut out, I think a circle, 2 circles, one on each side, and then connect them with a flat piece sort of in the shape of the Nautilus shell, to give it some stability, and then I can put anything in there, and then I'll just make a little drawstring bag to put inside. I This was inspired by the Loewe shell bag a couple years ago. I thought it was really, really beautiful for a summer bag, and not worth the price tag that they put on it, because you can easily make this yourself. It's not actually a particularly difficult make. So finally, after 2 years, I'm going to start to work on this and finish it hopefully by the end of summer. Yeah, and I don't get distracted by anything else, but we'll see. The moment, as you can see, it's very messy, and it's been taking up a bit of space, so I'd like to get that one finished and off the crochet needle. The last thing that I've got working on at the moment is actually a gift for my sister that I'd said that I'd give her a while ago, so I really do have to get it done. I'm making her originally, so I've got this Harry Potter book. Yeah, so she really, really loves Harry Potter, and I told her that I'd make her something small out of this book if she wanted, and she chose one of the biggest things in the book, this pretty cool scarf. If you can see there, you've got the night bus and broomsticks and platform 9 3/4, and I started making the scarf, but recently I thought it would actually be probably more usable, something that she'd be more likely to want to have around if it was in pillows. So I'm going to make 3 separate pillows for her, and she liked that idea. So I'll show you my progress. This was my first bit of colour work that I'd ever attempted, and it's not very good at the start. So if you can see the bottom here, it is pulling quite a bit on all of these bits. See, that's supposed to be the front of the bust, but you can't really see it. So I'm hoping that I can block this out and make it a little bit nicer. And yeah, so I'm going to turn this into a pillow instead and have the tassels on the top and the bottom. And yeah, I'm hoping that blocking will fix this one a little bit. And otherwise I'll just go in there and cut and tie and do what I need to do to make it look a little bit better for this first one. I'm up to making the broomsticks now. So this pillow is already looking much better. I had a project in colour work at the end of last year, and so this one I started a long time before that, and now I'm much better. If you can see, my floats are very nice and even on the inside there, and yeah, now that it's going to be a pillow, I think there would be 3 pillows instead of 3 sets of the scarf, so she's going to get it a lot sooner as well. But this is, yeah, the broomstick pillow so far. I've made this one a little bit wider, so there'll be a bit of a change in terms of what the shape of the pillows is, so they're not all the same. And I reckon they're going to be really cute after. But I didn't really understand the yarn too well at this point, so I started this a year or 2 ago, and I hadn't really gotten into knitting again much, but now that I've started watching all these knitting videos, I'm learning a lot more about the yarn and yarn choices now that I'm into it a bit more. And this wouldn't have been a very nice scarf. It's a bit too stiff. The yarn's not right for it, and it just wouldn't have been that wearable. So it made me think that it would be a better choice to come out as a pillow, something a bit more fun in her home, instead of a scarf that she probably wouldn't get that much wear out of. So that's my last WIP at the moment. I'll move on to acquisitions. I don't have many because, like I said, I'm trying to work through everything I have at the moment. So all I've got is I got an extra pair of needle toppers. Point protectors, these ones are called. They're just really cute little tulip bulbs. Let's see if I can take it out. Might be able to see them a bit better there. So they're just really cute. Now that I'm not really knitting on just one thing at a time, so it would be good to have a few more of these. I've got some really cute sunflower ones at the moment, so I wanted to add in another flower. So that's one of the things that I got. The others not very exciting, but I got a few stitch markers. So this is for slightly bigger. I also got another one of these as well, because I quite like projects that require a fair few stitch markers. And then I got a smaller pack as well for the black estuary wrap that I'm working on. So those are the acquisitions that I have at the moment. Yes, I was quite nervous, so maybe I went through things a little bit quickly this time around. I think it'll get a little bit, once I get a bit more comfortable, I'll be able to go into more I will go into more detail and discuss it more fully. I hope you enjoyed this video or seeing some of the things that I made. I'd love to see what other people are making, so if you want to leave a comment, and yeah, no, I don't like that ending. Bye. Have a good rest of your weekend or week whenever you're watching this. I hope to see you again, or yeah, comment what you think of the things that I'm making, if there's any suggestions you have, or pointers, tips, or yeah, hopefully all positive comments. But yeah, any constructive comments would be welcomed as well. So bye.